Hey, this is B-Dub, and welcome to a new episode of Clearing Out My Head. Can you name something that used to be really common, but just sort of vanished over time? Well, someone asked Reddit, and here's what people had to say. Number one person said, those shoes with wheels in them. Well, they're called Heelys, and they're actually still around. They're just not as huge as they were. Number two, the next person said, payphones. Another person added, in a lot of rural areas, they've been converted into free lending libraries or book swaps. And there's a phone box in Yorkshire that was converted into the world's smallest museum. Number three, the next person said, missing people on milk containers. Number four, the next person said paid lunches. You know, the term 9 to 5 used to mean 8 hours, including lunch. Now, most jobs are 9 to 6 with no paid lunch, but people still use the term 9 to 5. You know, 9 to 5 used to mean 8 hours and you got a break in the middle, but a lot of companies switched to 9 to 6 at some point, and everybody just took it up on the chin. Number five, the next person said ringtones. Another person added, do ringtones even still exist? You know, I just realized that whenever my phone rings, it buzzes silently. Yes, ringtones still exist, people. You know, I hear them all the time. Either, you know, they're regular ringtones or the songs or anything. I mean, yeah, I like mine on silent too, trust me. Number six, the next person said, picture-in-picture as a television feature. You don't hear about that anymore. Yeah, you don't hear about it, but it's still around. You know, it was a huge deal to be able to watch two things at once. Now everyone watches TV while also using their computer and their phone, so people say, who cares? But it's actually, folks, it's still a thing. I mean, I do that with sports sometimes. I will watch 3 or 4 sport events at the same time. It's actually called multi-screen. It's not called picture-in-picture anymore. But, you know, you have the multi-screen where it's, you know, four rectangles. So you may be watching football on one, hockey on the other, basketball down here. And, you know, if you get lucky and get a baseball game where you have all 4 sports going at once. I mean, it's very, and they did that with, you know, with the Olympics where you had 4 sports going on at once. So, I mean, it's a thing with the multi-screen. Yeah, picture-in-picture's not around anymore, but you actually get the multi-screen by now. But anyway, moving on. Number 7, the next person said the prizes in cereal boxes. Another person added, they would sometimes have CD computer games. I had a game where you would explore the Amazon River, and it was pretty cool. Some still do it, but they mostly switched to the QR codes where you get a link to a mobile app. Number 8, the next person said 3D TVs and to a lesser extent 3D in cinemas. For a while, so many movies in cinemas had a 3D option, and actually some of them still do. Many were not even shot with stereoscopic cameras, and they just had their regular frames reprocessed digitally for the 3D effect. 3D TVs were the next logical step in bringing the same effect to the living room, but it turns out that sometimes that works in an environment where you sit still in a fixed spot doesn't work as well in an environment where you look at the screen from all kinds of angles and directions through a single viewing. Number 9, the next person said, kids playing outside. I grew up playing outside, and I don't see that anymore. Well, most of us that are adults grew up playing outside. You know, another person added, my brother lives in a big subdivision. Now, I have a comment after I read this. My family was there a few years ago for Christmas. This is key. There wasn't a single kid outside on a bike throwing a ball or steering an RC car all day. It was strange and sad to me. Well, here's my first question. It was Christmas. It's winter. Where the hell were you? Because if you're in the north It's probably cold outside, so unless it's snowing, no kid's going to be outside. I mean, truthfully, when we were growing up, there would be times we'd be outside, but most of the time in the winter, we stayed inside. I mean, unless we played basketball or something, but 9 times out of 10, we were inside. Number 10, the next person said freestanding newspaper stands. I don't think I've ever seen a freestanding newspaper stand, period, so I'm in the same boat. Number 11, the next person said AOL Messenger and ICQ. I used to love having people pop in and message me on these apps. ICQ was great because it allowed for people on AOL, Yahoo, and MSN, etc. to communicate. It's sad that it just disappeared. I met so many great people. Folks, that's what texting is. That's what Messenger on Facebook is. That's what Teams is. It just got replaced. I mean, yes, that went away, but we still have it. Number 12, the next person said so much in games. Cheat codes, unlockable cosmetics, and downloadable content that isn't just a veiled microtransaction. Number 13, the next person said bugs, especially on the car windshield. I'm somewhat horrified thinking about how much bug juice was on the car's windshield and grill when I was a kid, but today my own vehicle is very clean. The fact that we're even talking about this or even thinking it, and this person is even bringing this up, is the weirdest thing in the world because, I mean, bugs are still out there, folks. I don't know. You must not be driving in the same areas you were when you were a kid, I guess. I don't know. Number 14, the next person said voiceovers in movie trailers. For some reason, I can't think of when exactly they died out. I just remember that they were a thing, and then they weren't. It seems like none of them have one now. Well, I mean, I think the guy that did most of them, didn't he pass away? I mean, that's the only thing I can think of because he was a huge contributor to a lot of those movie voiceovers and movie trailers. So that's one of the things I could think of, but I could be wrong on that too, so don't quote me. Number 15, the next person said VCR tape rewinders. Folks, who the hell still has a VCR to begin with? I mean, that's all I'm going to say about that. Number 16, the next person said lifetime licenses. Everything is a subscription now. Yes, everything is a subscription now, but actually I have seen some things that are like lifetime subscriptions. Don't know what they, I can't remember who's doing them, so I couldn't tell you, but I think there are some out there. Next, number 17, the next person said, play places at fast food establishments. There aren't that many that still have them. Do you actually want to go to them if they do? I know I've seen a few, but I don't know if you really want to go to them. Anyway, number 18, the next person said long-distance phone companies and their ever-common advertising. Okay, 95% of people have a cell phone. Do we need long distance? Okay. Anyway, number 19. The next person says CD players. I have a rather large collection of CDs, and I have to search for a car that could play them. Same with CD players and computers. I still have my CD player. I actually have a few CD players when I bought when I was 20. My stereo is sitting in the next room. I still have some of my CDs too. I had to sell a lot of them when I was going through my divorce so I could have money to pay for my lawyer. But I still have some of them. And actually, I do have a multi-disc changer in my car, which is a 2011 Highlander. So go figure on that. Number 20, the next person said layaway plans, which I am sure was due to the rise in credit cards, but still. Yeah, I don't really hear about layaway plans anymore. But Kmart's not around, or Sears, or any of those other places that do layaway plans. I think Walmart used to do it. I don't know if they still do. Anyway, number 21, the next person said pagers. I remember thinking, who's going to page you at school, and how are you going to call them back? Probably with a payphone that is not around anymore. It was around then, but it's not around now. So it kind of makes sense. Again, everybody has cell phones now. Number 22, the next person said mechanical credit card machines that took an imprint, then you had to sign it. Yeah, I hated it. I think what I hated more was just getting that crap, that imprint stuff on your hands. Oh, that was the worst. Number 23, the next person said garage sales and a local newspaper. The fact they said local newspaper, that lists where they are. There was a time I furnished half my house and filled my kitchen from garage sales. Well, good for you. I'm glad. I used to go to garage sales. Actually, we've done some garage sales, so I understand completely. Number 24, the next person said, does anyone remember the coin-operated horses outside of grocery stores? I suddenly realized they're nowhere to be found now. Truthfully, I've seen them. I actually pass by one every week when I go to Meijer to do my grocery shopping. It's actually inside the store, not outside the store. So they are still around. And finally, number 25, this person said cigarette lighters and ashtrays in cars. Well, I will have to say my 2011 Highlander does have a cigarette lighter. It does not have an ashtray. Go figure on that. So, and I have been in some newer cars, and they do not have either of them. So, yes, they are going away. Now, is there anything else you can think of that I have not said that has just slowly disappeared on us over the years? Let me know on my social media or my show page. But thanks for listening to this episode of Clearing Out My Head. Don't forget, you can listen to Clearing Out My Head on all major podcasting platforms. Also, you can check out my podcast page on Spotify where you can listen to past episodes. Check out my social media links or leave me a message. But until next time, this is B-Dub. Thanks for listening, and I hope you will join me next time as I continue with Clearing Out My Head.
That was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good, though.
It could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Get him away!
Hey, boo!
Boo!